Everything you believe about demonstrating value is backwards. And the reason people keep undervaluing you is because your behavior is teaching them to. You know him. He never brags about his accomplishments. He never tries to prove he's valuable. He never chases anyone's approval. Yet somehow everyone treats him like he's the most important person in the room. They ask for his time like it's a privilege. They respect his boundaries without question. They value his opinion above everyone else's. Meanwhile, you're working twice as hard, achieving more, and still getting treated like you're replaceable. Here's what nobody tells you. People don't value what you tell them you're worth. They value what your behavior teaches them you're worth. And right now, your behavior is screaming that you're low value, even if your achievements say otherwise. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to break down the 7 specific behaviors that separate men who get treated like they're valuable from men who get treated like they're disposable. These aren't confidence tricks. These are invisible lessons you're teaching every single day about how people should treat you. Let's get into it. Behavior 1. You protect your time like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Harvard Business School tracked the behavioral patterns of high-value individuals across different industries. The number one consistent trait: they treated their time as scarce and precious. Not sometimes, always. They didn't say yes to every meeting. They didn't make themselves constantly available. They didn't respond to every message immediately. And because they treated their time as valuable, everyone else did too. Here's what this looks like in practice. Someone asks for your time. Low-value response? Sure, I'm free whenever. High-value response? I have 15 minutes Thursday at 3. Low-value men make themselves endlessly available because they're afraid of missing opportunities. High-value men create scarcity because they understand that availability kills perceived value. When you're always free, your time is worth nothing. When your calendar is tight, suddenly everyone wants a slot. Think about the last person who made you wait for their time. You probably valued that meeting more, right? You probably prepared more. You probably showed up on time. Now think about someone who's always available. You probably rescheduled on them, showed up late, didn't prepare. That's human nature. We value what's scarce. We dismiss what's abundant. Your time is either a commodity or a currency, and your behavior determines which one people think it is. So you stop being available all the time. You start protecting your calendar like a fortress. You say no to things that don't serve you. You make people schedule time with you instead of dropping everything when they call. Not because you're trying to seem important, but because your time actually is valuable, and you're finally acting like it. And the moment you do, people start treating it differently, because you taught them to. Behavior 2. You walk away from disrespect without explanation. Stanford researchers studied conflict resolution patterns and found that men who immediately removed themselves from disrespectful situations maintained significantly higher status than men who argued or tolerated it. The key word: immediately. Not after thinking about it, not after trying to fix it. Most men make one of 2 mistakes. They either fight back, which signals the disrespect bothered them, or they tolerate it, which signals they'll accept it. Both responses teach people that disrespecting you has no real consequences. High-value men do neither. Someone crosses a line, they don't argue. They don't explain why it's wrong. They just stop showing up, stop responding, stop investing energy. The relationship ends without drama or discussion. Here's why this works. When you argue, you're negotiating your worth. When you explain why you deserve respect, you're asking permission to have boundaries. But when you simply withdraw, you're making a statement. My presence is a privilege, not a right, and if you don't value it, you don't get it. That silent withdrawal teaches people more about your worth than any argument ever could. Because you're not defending your value, you're demonstrating it by removing it from their life. Behavior 3. You speak less but with more weight. MIT analyzed communication patterns in professional settings and found that individuals who spoke less frequently but with higher information density were rated as more competent and valuable than those who contributed constantly. Low-value men fill silence with words. They comment on everything. They share every thought. They need to be heard constantly. High-value men are comfortable with silence. They observe, they process, and when they speak, it's because they have something worth saying. Not to fill space, not to be noticed, but to add value. And because they're selective with their words, people actually listen when they talk. This shows up everywhere. In meetings, the guy rambling for 20 minutes gets tuned out. The guy who's been quiet for 45 minutes and then speaks for 2 gets everyone's full attention. In social settings, the guy trying to be the life of the party gets forgettable. The guy who observes and drops one perfect comment becomes the most interesting person there. Your words are either noise or signal, and your behavior determines which one people think they are. So you stop talking just to talk. You stop commenting on everything. You stop sharing every opinion. You become selective. You speak when you have something valuable to add, and you stay silent when you don't. And watch what happens. People start leaning in when you talk. They start asking what you think, because you've taught them that when you speak, it matters. Behavior 4. You never chase. You attract. Columbia University studied pursuit dynamics in professional and personal relationships. What they found is brutal but true. The person doing the chasing is always perceived as lower value than the person being chased. Always. Low-value men chase opportunities. They follow up multiple times. They reach out constantly. They try to force connections. They pursue relationships that aren't reciprocal. High-value men plant seeds and move on. They make one offer, one introduction, one attempt. If there's no response or interest, they're gone. They don't chase because they understand a fundamental truth. Valuable things don't chase. They attract. Think about it. When someone keeps following up with you, texting you, trying to get your attention, what do you think? You think they need something from you. You think they're desperate. You think they're low value. But when someone reaches out once and then goes silent, you think about them. You wonder why they didn't follow up. You start to pursue them. That's the power of non-pursuit. The less you chase, the more attractive you become. So you stop chasing people who don't reciprocate. You stop following up 5 times. You stop trying to convince people of your value. You make your offer, you show your value, and then you move on. If they want what you bring, they'll come back. If they don't, you've saved yourself time and energy. Either way, you've taught them that your attention isn't something they can take for granted. It's something they have to earn. Behavior 5. You maintain the same energy regardless of who's in the room. Yale researchers studied status consistency and found that individuals who changed their behavior based on who they were interacting with were rated as less authentic and less valuable than those who remained consistent. The CEO walks in, you're the same. The janitor walks in, you're the same. That consistency signals that your worth isn't dependent on external validation. Low-value men are chameleons. They're one person with their boss, another with their peers, another with subordinates. They adjust their personality to impress whoever has power. High-value men are the same person everywhere. Same confidence, same standards, same energy. They don't code switch. They don't perform. They don't change their opinions based on the audience. And that consistency is magnetic because it signals genuine self-worth. This is one of the fastest ways to identify high-value men. Watch how they treat a waiter versus how they treat a CEO. If there's no difference, you're looking at someone with genuine self-respect. If they're kissing up and kicking down, you're looking at someone who's insecure about their value. And your actual character determines your actual worth. Behavior 6. You set boundaries and enforce them without emotion. Northwestern University research on interpersonal dynamics shows that individuals who set clear boundaries and enforce them consistently were rated as significantly more respectable and trustworthy than those with flexible or unclear boundaries. The key isn't just having boundaries, it's enforcing them without anger, without explanation, without negotiation. Low-value men set boundaries emotionally. They get angry when someone crosses a line. They explain why the boundary exists. They negotiate exceptions. All of that signals that their boundaries aren't real. They're suggestions. High-value men set boundaries calmly and enforce them absolutely. No anger, no explanation, no exceptions. Someone crosses the boundary, the consequence is immediate and non-negotiable. And because they enforce it consistently, people learn quickly not to test it. Here's what this looks like. You say you don't take calls after 8 p.m. Someone calls you at 9. Low-value response? Answer, and then complain about it. High-value response? Don't answer. Text back the next morning. I don't take calls after 8. That's it. No apology, no negotiation, just enforcement. The first time you do this, people might be surprised. The second time, they learn. The third time never happens because they got the message. Your boundaries are real, and your worth is protected by them. Behavior 7. You invest in yourself visibly and consistently. Berkeley studied the correlation between self-investment and perceived value. What they found is simple. People who consistently invested time and money into their own development were perceived as higher value than those who didn't, regardless of actual skill level. Why? Because self-investment signals that you believe you're worth investing in. And if you believe it, others will too. Low-value men coast. They stop learning after college. They don't read. They don't train. They don't develop new skills. They stagnate and wonder why people don't value them. High-value men are constantly upgrading, reading books, taking courses, hiring coaches, training their bodies, developing skills, not to show off, but because they understand that their value is directly tied to their ability to solve problems and create results. First, it signals that you value yourself enough to invest in your growth. And if you value yourself, others should too. Second, it makes you genuinely more valuable. You're sharper, more capable, more interesting. You bring more to every interaction, so people naturally value you more because you're objectively bringing more value. It's not a performance. It's actual worth built through actual work. Think about the men you respect most. They're not sitting still. They're reading, training, learning, building. They have energy, knowledge, capability. They're not trying to convince you they're valuable. Their investment in themselves already did. That's the power of visible self-investment. You don't have to tell people you're worth something. Your continuous growth announces it. Here's the pattern you need to understand. These 7 behaviors aren't tactics. They're symptoms of genuine self-worth. When you actually value yourself, you naturally protect your time, walk away from disrespect, speak with intention, refuse to chase, maintain consistency, enforce boundaries, and invest in growth. You're not performing high value. You are high value. And everyone around you picks up on that energy. The problem most men have is they try to use these behaviors as tricks while still feeling low value internally. They protect their time while secretly being desperate for approval. They walk away from disrespect while internally questioning if they deserve better. They stop chasing while wishing people would chase them. And that internal-external mismatch shows. People can sense when you're performing versus when you're being authentic. So the work isn't just changing your behavior. It's changing your internal narrative about your worth. You have to actually believe you're valuable. You have to actually believe your time matters. You have to actually believe you deserve respect. Because if you don't believe it, no behavior will convince others. But when you do believe it, these behaviors flow naturally. You're not trying to teach people your worth. You're simply operating from it, and they learn by watching. The transformation isn't complete until these behaviors become automatic. This isn't about remembering to act high value in important situations. It's about becoming a man whose worth is so deeply integrated that these behaviors are just how you operate. When you've truly internalized your value, you don't think about protecting your time. You just do it. You don't think about walking away from disrespect. You just leave. You don't think about speaking less. You just observe until you have something worth saying. So here's what it comes down to. Every interaction is a lesson. Every behavior is teaching people how to value you. Right now, you're teaching them you're available, that disrespect is tolerable, that your words don't matter, that they can take you for granted, that you're inconsistent, that your boundaries are flexible, and that you're not worth investing in. Or you're teaching them the opposite. The choice is yours. Most men will watch this and change nothing. If you're serious, you won't be one of them. Right after this video, identify which of these 7 behaviors you're failing at. Pick one, just one, and fix it this week. Stop being available all the time. Walk away from one disrespectful situation. Speak half as much. Stop chasing one person who isn't reciprocating. Show up the same way regardless of who's watching. Enforce one boundary without explaining. Invest in yourself in one visible way. Don't try to fix all 7. Fix one. Master it. Let people adjust to the new lesson you're teaching. Then come back in 90 days and fix the next one. Because understanding these behaviors means nothing. Embodying them is everything.